Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long goes 1975. A YouTuber's on the rise, reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends. But Long goes 1975.
Welcome to another Amiga versus Megadrive comparison video. In this video I'll be taking a look at this game on both systems, Afterburner 2. Despite the title screen there only saying Afterburner, this is in fact Afterburner 2. However, this is the one that was released in North America in 1989 by SEGA themselves, and not the version that was released by Activision. Now, I didn't know there were two versions of this game until very, very recently, and I can only assume that the Activision one, you know, for whatever reason didn't get released in North America, or it did, and Sega just said, do you know what, we're not putting up with this. This is fucking awful. Look at it, it's absolutely terrible. Don't believe, oh look, Afterburner 2, it's all about the balls. Don't believe me, if you never played the Amiga version of Afterburner on, the Activision version I should say, let me show you a teensy weensy little bit. I again only played this very recently and did not know how shit it was. So here, let me show you. So here we go. Are you ready? We just took off a Playmobil aircraft carrier, and I shit you not. I shit you not. Apart from the massive border, I can only think, music's alright, I can only think that this is an Atari ST port. And even then, even if it was, this is shocking. This looks like an Amstrad game. No offense, Amstrad, because, Amstrad was fucking cool. But the point is, this is a 16-bit version, port, of an arcade game, and this is absolutely shocking. So I just had to show you a little bit, even though we'll be taking a look. Oh look, it's got red brake lights at the top, because that makes up for everything else, doesn't it? Look at the planes. Yeah, I just had to show you a little bit of this, even though we're playing the North American version by SEGA. Yeah, that's pretty shocking, isn't it? It's absolutely terrible, in fact. So you can argue that this series of videos I've done, because I've done Outrun, and I've also done Super Hang-On, is not fair. Super Hang-On was a really, really good port. Outrun was not so good. But I'm working my way slowly through the Sega games, and there might be a few coming up that surprise you, where the Amiga actually beats the Megadrive. Yes, there are some of those. I'm not doing this as one-sided as you might think. Anyway, Afterburner was ported to absolutely everything. It's based on the arcade machine of the same name, released in 1987 by SEGA, which is clearly based on, or takes inspiration from, I should say, Top Gun, as you fly an F-14 taken off from an aircraft carrier in the middle of the ocean and take down shit tons of enemy, refuel in the air, and also fly down canyons and stuff like that. There were two cabs. The one I remember, and the only one I saw, was the one that we played in Westwood Ho, that was the sit-down articulated cab, the full motion cab. Basically, it had an accelerator and a throttle, and it blew my mind. I think it was 50p ago, which was quite a lot in 1987. Then obviously Afterburner 2 came out, which I'm guessing is what that was, because Afterburner 2 added 4 extra levels. It's not so much really a sequel. I'm guessing it was the same year or maybe the next year. I don't know. But added 4 extra levels, remixed the music, but gave you the throttle control that I'm talking about, that I saw in the hydraulic, is the word I'm looking for, not articulated. Hydraulic cabinet that we played there back in the day. And anyone of my generation remembers the first time they saw Afterburner, they absolutely passed a kidney stone. It was unbelievable. Ported to the Megadrive, the PC Engine, which is my favourite version, but this is about the arguments we used to have at school, even though you could, obviously I say I never played this version because it was tucked away in North America and 12-year-old me didn't even know it bloody existed. But it's all about the Amiga versus the Megadrive. But there's a Master System version that came with my Master System back in the day. That is a really, really impressive port. There's a NES port done by Tengen? I don't know. It always blew my mind when Sega stuff came out on the NES. And then obviously Activision did ports to all the micros in the UK, the Amiga, which you just saw, which is PANS, Atari ST, Commodore Amstrad and Spectrum. And do you know what? On the 8-bits, they were alright. They were more than playable. Oh, there's a 32X version, which I have a gameplay of, and there's obviously a Sega Saturn version, which I have a gameplay of. But let's go back to the beginning of all that guff and play this version. Now, there is a speed up control on it, but I would have to use the keyboard for that, which means I'd have to use the virtual keyboard. So we're just going to wing it, see what I did there, and not play it with accelerate or decelerate. Hopefully it's not going to spank me too much. Music's alright, by the way, though, isn't it? Definitely sounds the part. I can recognise it to the arcade. Whether or not the Megadrive version beats it or not, I don't know. But let's get into this. So, fire. Right, so now bottom left, you can see my lives. Above my lives, you can see speed. We can't really do anything about that. To the right of my lives, you can see stage, and to the right of that, you can see missiles. Top left score, top right, I don't know, is that how many planes I've shot down? Once again, it's the 80s, so you're just going to send one bloke into combat because, you know, it's the 80s, and that's how shit rolled back then. And obviously, it's a pretty calm day though, isn't it? Look at that in the sea. Isn't there some significance to 69 on the aircraft carrier? I don't know. Let's press fire. No voice. Right, immediately, it's better. Controls are inverted as well. It's better than the, well, let's be honest, I could shit in a box and it would be better than the Activision version. Top right is my radar. Stuff going on in the sea. Right, the frame rate is a bit squiffy. I mean, look, I go from left, I go to right. I'm not really getting, you know, I'm not taking much in, which you could argue would probably make it quite realistic. Right, so if I just hammer fire, my Vulcans go. Your Vulcans aren't automatic like they are in other versions of the game. I'm holding fire down, and I'm trying. Nope, can't do my throttle. But right, so let's see if we get a lock on. We get a lock on. That's really choppy. That's making me feel a bit seasick. But your plane looks the part, and the other planes look the part. Not quite as fast as I would like, but it's alright. It's recognisable as Afterburner. I mean, this is a silly statement. Immediately better than the Master System version. Okay, that's cool. I always find that music so chilled considering the amount of death that we're dealing. Right, have I actually got a lock on yet? Yeah, do you know what? If I was a fan of the arcade and I got this to play, I would have been more than happy because, whether or not I'd seen the Megadrive version doesn't factor into that, but because it does look like the arcade. A very, very watered down, you know, scaled back version of the arcade. But your planes, they look the part. And the music's alright as well. Right, there you go, that little diddle-doo. That's me getting a lock on them. Then I press fire. And nothing happened. I got one just now with a missile. Ooh, right, let's attempt the barrel roll. I'm going to throw up. I'm struggling to launch missiles. I have a feeling that's entirely on me and not the game's fault. Right, you press left and you press right really quickly, yeah? I mean, that's every other version of this I've played. Hey, there we go. I've done one barrel roll. I feel like I've achieved something. Also, not throwing up. That's a very choppy frame rate, isn't it? But again, I mean, compare it to the Activision version. That looked like a bloody 8-bit game, didn't it? And it was heavily bordered. Nighttime stage, let's refuel. Always love this in the arcade. Boring random fact. The PC Engine version is the only version on, well, it's not 16-bit, but you know what I mean, actually attempts scaling on that plane. And it has a little bit of scaling when you take off the aircraft carrier. Listen to that music. Right, I want to shoot someone with my missile. I want you to hit me as hard as you can. Point to the quote. 3 lives. The music is excellent. Right, basically the name of the game is just keep moving. Pretty much like real aircraft combat, I would imagine. Oh, new! There is a little bit of, you know, well, there's a massive amount of randomness to whether or not you get shot or don't. It's not entirely skill. I'm very impressed with the music, I really am. Oh, that's iconic, blowing up, you know, shit along the floor. And when I say blowing up shit along the floor, I mean me blowing up along the floor. Ooh. Although sometimes when you get shot, you really do feel like I have no Scooby whatsoever what just hit me. Again, you could probably argue that's accurate to flying. How do I do that? Someone wants to tell me, shies and balls. By all means, let me know in the comment section. Yeah, I would have been well happy with this. Mainly because, like I said, your plane itself, to me, looks just like the bloody arcade. I'd have to do a comparison directly to it to notice the difference, but nah. I've got gameplay comparisons of Afterburner, you know, there's various versions, PC Engine versus Megadrive and stuff like that. Like I said, PC Engine is my favourite home port. Obviously it lacks the majestic glory and the horsepower and all grunt that 32X version does, which has no hardware scaling, you know, capabilities, but does an absolutely almost arcade perfect bang up job. Who knew? Oh, shit balls! Come on, let me get one more stage in. I'm just loving that music. Fuck nuggets. I'm a bad pilot. Right, well, there you go. No continues? Because why would it give you continues? So, let's have a look at the Sega Megadrive version, which was ported by Sega themselves, and wasn't a launch game, but was pretty damn near close to the start of the console's life. Definitely a first year game. Anyway, I'll shut up. I should be mentioning this when I play the actual Megadrive version. So here we go with Afterburner 2 on the Sega Megadrive. So it was actually released in 1990, so it's certainly not a launch title, and it's not really first year as such, is it? But it's done by Demper. Demper did a bunch of conversions on the Sharp X68000, so that's kind of interesting, and on the PC Engine. Right, so first of all, it's night and day, isn't it? Look at it, it's absolutely Harry Clappers, and it has a frame rate. Sorry about the screen size, because despite the fact that I have a near complete ROM set on my True Blue mini stick for my Mega Drive Mini, for some reason it completely blows my mind. Afterburner 2, you know, or Afterburner itself, which is such a famous Sega arcade game, is not on there. But let's have a look at, we got any options? There we go. Start, options, maximum power, that's the music, sound, level easy, control, A fast, B missile, C slow. Your Vulcans are on all the time, so that's kind of a really cool way to do your speed, a simple way if you will. That's not really a fair comparison against the Amiga, because obviously you could change, you know, your, well, I was going to say acceleration, is that the right word for a plane? But I couldn't, because I didn't have access to a keyboard. Up and down normal, up and down reverse, which otherwise known as the correct way, and exit, and then okay, well, there's music, and start, and start. Right, so your layout, you start immediately. It doesn't say, I swore he said get ready. Layout your screen's exactly the same, because that's the arcade. Decelerate. Right. I can't speed up. Oh, well, we'll just take it as we got it. But yeah, so your Vulcans go all the time. Kind of handy. Your plane looks absolutely fantastic. Let's try a barrel roll. Oh, that worked, didn't it? And also, I don't feel like I'm going to hey! Let's not speak too soon, Dave. Throw up. Oh, look at that. That's a very nice transition. Music seems to be a bit, I don't know, I think I prefer the Amiga version, to be honest. Speech is, well, there's more speech in this, to be fair, so there you go. I only got 3 lives. Do I brake and they fly right by? I've seen Top Gun. Yoink. This is, do you know what, right? Again, there's far more stuff going on the floor than there is in the Amiga version. But, obviously, we knew, anyone, even as a kid, knew it was going to take a hit. We didn't know exactly what was in arcade cabinets as a kid, but we knew it was way more, you know, beefy, you know, than what was in our home consoles. That looks really cool, though. Still would like to know how he manages to force missiles down a fuel pipe, but, you know, it's a video game, Dave. I keep forgetting I've got missiles. And they are far easier to use than they are in the Amiga version, now that I've realised I can use them. He says, and he just gets shot. That's cooler. That's way cooler. Do you know what? I never had this on my Mega Drive back in the day, but I did borrow it off someone at school and did really like it, because Afterburner was such a favourite game of mine in the arcades, and I was more than happy with this. I mean, this is, I mean, we're not even going to mention, well, we are, because I'm about to say this statement, to compare this against the Activision version. Say that 10 times. Candyman shows up and kills you. But this is streets ahead of the Amiga version. You know, this is like, this and the PC Engine, they were the best we had, weren't they? Until, you know, the 32X showed up, and then obviously Sega Ages on Saturn, which is basically the arcade version. I'm a really shy pilot. But yeah, remember, alright, I know the Amiga didn't, but Mega Drive has no, you know, sprite, hardware sprite scaling capabilities. So the fact that it's this smooth is well impressive. I mean, you could say that about everything it did like this, like Hang On and, you know, Outrun. But there's far more going on, you know, in the skies, if you will, in this than there is in those two games. Harriers. Am I killing my own allies? Which bad guys around the world had Harriers? Why did we sell Harriers to the bad guys? Are we the bad guys? I mean, look at our hats. Yeah, this is way cool. I mean, well done, Sega, for accepting that a decent version needed to be done on the Amiga, you know, after the travesty that was Activision. But could it have done anything better than that it did? I mean, it's obviously not an Atari ST port. Look at that. But yeah, this is a whole new level, isn't it? Ooh, above the clouds, otherwise known as exactly the same as the floor but white. Oh, shies and balls. Far more responsive, and it's far quicker as well, you know, without that horrible, well, basically complete lack of frame rate. The music in this, do you know what, I prefer the Amiga version, but this is no slouch in the music department. So obviously the Mega Drive gets this one, and again, this is just a bit of fun comparing the two 16-bit machines I could compare or fight, or playground wars if you will, back in the day. But as I said, we will be looking at other games that aren't just going to go straight into the Mega Drive lap, if you will. You know, I'm not a complete cold-hearted bastard. 12-year-old Dave was. I was vicious in the playground wars. But yeah, so anyway, as always, I'd love to know what you think. I mean, obviously, if you had the Amiga back in the day in this country, then your only version, right, let's check on the anchors and see if he flies straight by. No, I blow up. But to be fair, that was someone in front of me. Yeah, if you had an Amiga in the UK back in the day, then the only version you would have got to play is the stinky Activision version. But I'd love to know what you think of Sega North American version. And, you know, if you had a Mega Drive, what did you think of Afterburner 2 on it? And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.